Hi, I'm OKJ, and in 1 month I'll be taking my Chinese O-level exams for the very first time. With such a short time left, I feel I need to address an elephant in the room, because for those of you who are astute enough, you may have realized that every time when I did an exam throughout this series, I've always only focused on paper 2 and avoided the compositions. And the reason for it is straightforward. I hate composition and I hate practicing it as well because it takes so long for me to write. But I know now that I need to face it because obviously the O-levels are coming up. So today I'm interviewing someone named Srijan. He has just finished his O-levels last year, so his experience is fresh. But not only that, he is someone who writing Chinese to him is second nature, so much so that he scored an A and is even interning at SPH right now, contributing Mandarin articles. I feel he's the perfect person that can help me kickstart this journey. Okay, so I've come to you for specific help because the first time I was introduced to you was even before you introduced yourself to me. It was through your works, which just goes to show how good your works are. Could you briefly introduce to me why, at such a young age, you have the confidence to write Chinese articles and even intern for a journalistic company?
Wow, okay. So like every school, they have this thing called 逗号 lah. So like 逗号, there's actually this thing called 新闻我来说 lah. So it's like you submit this 读后感. It's like a reflection about the news article lah. It's just a mere 200 words only. And then yeah, really, it's just 200 words.
mere 200 words.
Yeah.
对你来说写这些很容易的啊？
没问题了，
没问题了。
legit 没问题。
So since this comes so naturally for you, right, I wanted to get some tips from you. The first one is just in terms of writing speed. I have been painstakingly learning how to write. So I just like, okay, so I will copy from textbook, 所以我就写去背这些。
Oh, that's sick, man. That's really sick.
But is this method worth it or not? Because until now, I haven't actually practiced writing compositions, and my fear was that I wouldn't be able to write fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
How do you improve your writing speed is what I'm trying to ask. Is this a good method?
It's really time practice. It's really time practice because like, I mean normally, right, so for O-levels it's like 2 hours, right? And 2 hours you have a 电邮 and a 作文 to write. So for 电邮, average is about 45 to 50 minutes. Normally like that's how long I will take lah. Then after I'll spend about 5 minutes to check lah. Then after I'll just present to 作文, which I'll take about 50 to 55 minutes. And then after once I finish writing, same thing lah, 5 or 10 minutes to check through. I mean editing is a very important process, be it 电邮 or 作文lah. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about content. Right. So in content, what should my mindset be? Because it feels like I'm not given a lot of time to think about what I want to write because I need to spend the time actually writing it. How would you advise me in terms of going in that direction?
So because for paper 1, right, for 电邮 and 作文, you can spend like maybe say 5 minutes to do 审题 lah, which is essentially brainstorming lah. So that's just like the route lah. And after as you write, it's just simultaneously thinking what to write and then just write. So it's like a two-way kind of thing lah. So like what goes to your head, you just write it on pen and paper. Yeah.
One method that I'm currently using is just reading 八世界它有那个好样的那个 portal, and I use it's meant to be for 口试. But I kind of like the way that it writes, and I also understand from an English perspective what 它的内容是什么啦。那我每次如果可能每天读一章，那个会不会帮我去想我那时候在做 paper 1的题目啊？还是你觉得这样还不可以？我还是必须要自己练习怎么写。
Okay, I mean 其实 right 就是练习是最重要的。Then 然后 right 内容方面 right 我是觉得 like it depends on what compo you write like because 作文有3大种 one is 记叙文啦 which is narrative essay.
Okay.
然后有议论文 which is like argumentative expository.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the other one is like 材料作文啦 so like they give like a so-called 新闻背景啦 which is essentially something like 逗号里面那个新闻读后感啦。
Oh, it seems like of the 3, I would prefer that one the most. To be able to just 读了那个新闻，然后就可能针对一个看法。
Yeah, because 我觉得 like 他自己给那个 idea 了，然后 like for 材料作文，我觉得它有一个 format 就是一个格式啊，就是你要写 like 第一段就是这样 ，and then body 是这样，然后结尾是这样。
So on this last note, perhaps what is based on your own experience, right? How has language affected your life? it can be both positive and negative.
I mean, everything is all positive lah. I mean, really, it's how would I put this? This identity lah. Like, I get this identity because I actually have a Chinese name lah, which is
你的华文名是什么？
林哲。
林哲。
Yeah, 双木的林，然后陶喆的喆。Also because this name was actually given to me by my primary one Chinese teacher lah, so it really means a lot. I mean, initially, it was like, okay, it's just a name, okay, so just live with it lah. But I think progressively, right, I think it became another identity for me lah. So like, I feel like Srijan is one identity, Lingze is another identity, you know. So I feel like that gave me another so-called second identity lah. Yeah. That this guy is Trilingual. You know, yeah.
So why choose Chinese?
It wasn't really like a choice lah. I mean, because like I didn't really know how to talk until I was like 6. Yeah, until I was 6. So like the first language I just spoke out of my mouth was actually Chinese, like, which was essentially 老师再见.
So then, if you could recall, what led to then Chinese being that first language that you're exposed with?
Okay, so it happened to be there, like the class, right? Everyone was already Chinese, and then I was like one Malay guy and one Indian, which was myself lah. And then after that, it happened to be that those guys are actually speaking more in Mandarin actually. Yeah, and then after that, so because I didn't know how to talk, right? So everything was just all pure audio lah.
Yeah, and so it's just from the environment perspective, naturally.
Precisely. So essentially, to put it short, it's all because of environment. Yeah.
Was learning language difficult for you, or did it come more exciting to you compared to other people?
I actually started learning Chinese since primary 1. So from P1 to P4, everything was like quite soon lily one lah. So everything was like quite smooth. Until P5, I actually failed lah. So I actually failed Chinese. My overall grades for Chinese was a complete fail lah. Cause from P4 to P5 is actually a big jump lah, because like there is an increase in standard. Maybe for you, I think you might face it because
I'm facing that now with Sec 3.
Yeah, so I think maybe you can relate with me a little bit.
A lot.
From P4 to P5, yeah, like the paper,
jump.
the jump, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't feel like one level.
It feels higher, yeah, exactly. And then mostly vocab lah. I think I'll say it's vocab lah.
Yeah, that's what I'm facing. To be honest, what you're facing in terms of the P4 to P5 is what I fear now for the Sec 2, Sec 3.
Yeah, 就是词语不当啦. So my Chinese teacher, what she did was, she just like really just say lah, like just read more books, 看多点新闻, and then just try to converse more Chinese lah. But the problem is that I don't have the environment to converse in Chinese. So there has to be this third environment lah. So that's when my mom actually found out Toastmasters lah, and then they just accepted me in lah, because I have this mindset that I really want to improve on my 口语 lah. Yeah.
You have a desire to learn and I've seen that even just from my own experience, that when you show people that willingness to learn, to be honest, a lot of people reciprocate that with like open arms, and they're willing to do a lot actually.
Exactly. I mean, like when you're willing to do something and you want to reach help, people are always like very welcoming, like, and they're just really happy to try out. So like everything is just like.
I'm glad that you have been so generous to not only just come on the series, but also, to be honest, you have been one of my most passionate encouragers every time when I'm about to 做这个新的挑战 and all those kind of things. And this friend who just completed O-levels in 2022 shared with me that mindfulness is key, and also gave me some encouragement with this following saying, 世上无难事，只怕有心人. And I thank you that I can seem to continue to count on you to just give me advice.
Because I think for me, right, my main outcome is to like share with people that, okay, maybe like, especially for languages, right, like I said, because unlike math and science, there isn't like a fixed formula to it lah, but it's really like 你真的是去了解它，然后你就尽量用它 maybe in terms of your 日常生活 conversation or maybe 写作 or like 不管是怎样啦，只要你学到了，然后你去用的话， then effectively 有效率啦。Yeah.